Okay, so I gotta go through this game here that I watched earlier today when I was at lunch, and it's got lessons in it, from just how absolutely, I mean, it was an abomination. It was an absolutely horrific game, probably the worst game I've ever seen. Um, it is the result, and what I want to do here in this is I want to showcase what not having a plan looks like, having no idea what you're doing, no concept of calculation whatsoever in the game of chess. What you're going to see here are two players who are, I believe, they're supposed to be in the realms of the intermediate level, like 1200s. One of them was a 1200. I think black was a 1200, white was 1100. But they definitely did not play that way. That is for sure. If I go to the game review here, it doesn't really have a rating for either of them, but white played with a 66% accuracy. Black played with 74% accuracy. And I'm curious though about when black resigns in this game here. But, um, did he really do that? I don't remember black doing that in this game here. Uh, but- this is that's all my own continuations. I want to go to the actual game. Um, boom. Was it this one? I don't think it was this one. I don't remember Black doing any of these things. Boom, boom, that. Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, I don't know why the game's doing that. So what I'm gonna do here, real quickly, copy. Let's go back to the analysis board because that's all me messing with some theories and stuff like that. Um, So, okay, here we go. We're back at the way the game ended. Look at the way this look. So Black resigns in this, and yet look at where Black resigns as. Black resigns while he is 8.2 points up. Um, I mean, it, um, so yeah, I'll show you why here. But okay, so starting here, this is the King's Pawn opening, and we have the Caro Kann. Idea of the Caro-Kann, White demonstrates very early on that White has no idea what the Caro-Kann is because the Caro-Kann is preparing for this. But Caro-Kann is when White plays the classic King's Pawn opening e4. Black responds with c6 so that Black can prepare for this. So that if he takes, I mean, oops. So that's if he takes, you take back, blah, blah, blah. There you go. That's Carol Khan, and that's exactly what Black follows up with. It's very obvious. Black knows the Carol Khan. Yeah, I think that's just very obvious. Um, so there you go. He may not know it's called the Carol Khan, but that's what it is. um, so when you see this move, if you're white, you gotta like defend that somehow. You could do, knight to c4. That's the most popular move to defend that. There is, let's see here, we got oh no, knight to d2. I'm sorry, that's the most popular. But c3 is the same thing. It's doesn't it's about the same thing. The other thing you can do is push up the pawn here and grab more space. Now that's not the most popular. I mean, because there's always just that, and if you move up, if you move up to e6, you can always just lose the pawn to whatever. That's stuff that can happen. But what white does is just does this weird bishop move, which is going to start losing. You're going to see white just make some of the most dumbest decisions in an opening that you can possibly make. Like none of these things make any sense. But black doesn't do a whole lot better. So what should you do with black at this point? You should go ahead and just take that. That's a free pawn. It's a hanging pawn. Go ahead and take it. Why not? Let's just take that pawn. But no, black just goes right here. And now, the problem with this, there's a bunch of problems with this move. The most obvious problem is that right there. Now you got to move the knight. Like boom. Now, one of the rules of chess, like I mentioned in my last video, especially when it comes to the openings, a basic rule. Again, this isn't written in stone. There's always nuances. There's always occasions where you're gonna have to, like in Ruy Lopez, when you do the bishop up here, attacking a knight, and you get attacked, you have to move the bishop back. That's moving your a piece twice in the opening earliest stages of the game. But generally speaking, you don't want to have to constantly bounce a piece around because the opening is so key to a game of chess. You want to be able to have pieces on the board that you don't have to constantly move because you're trying to keep safe. So a knight move like this is not a good idea because what are you gonna like, you might do this, but now there's that, and then now that knight's done, screwed, it's over. It's over for that night. So, when you do that, you're forced to, over here, which blocks in this bishop, or undeveloped, which loses tempo. So it's a dumb move for black to do that, but it's all right. White doesn't see it and goes ahead and goes into defense, thinks he's on the defense when he could have just gone for it, just got aggressive, just get really aggressive with black, just jump on his mistakes. Nope, we're gonna move the bishop out and protect this pawn, which black kind of has control of, sort of, But anyways, black takes. White does not want to take back. White realizes, oh crap, that was not a good idea. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be really clever and gonna do this. Okay, it's not really doing a whole lot. I mean, it's looking at this, but other than that, that's about it. You can always just block that with that. We can go bishop here, threaten to take. Force the trade, and nothing happens. Excuse me. Nothing significant anyway. All right, so black's gonna, black's doing some cool stuff. Okay. That's not bad. It's not a bad move. Protecting the pawn. You got double protection on the pawn right there. This is out of the question at this point. That's out of the question. That's out of the question. This bishop's just kind of stuck right here, right there. That's about it. So there's nothing really for this bishop to do. It's not a huge. Okay, so now we're gonna attack the knight with this bishop here. Um, you can defend that with this, so that if bishop takes, we just take back, and we're still in a good solid situation. There's also which is the move that black does play right here, gaining some more control right here, combining control here. It's like if you take that, fine, whatever. Queen's gonna come out, take that, and now we're putting pressure on this, blah 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 blah. And that's what white does. Takes back. All right. So, okay, black is taking over the center of the board, and white's just giving it to him. I mean, why aren't you doing this stuff like this? You can't do this right now because of this. Oops, because of that. You can't. I mean, you can go right there, and then maybe right there. That's an option. I'm not sure you want to do that. There's potentially that, and getting stuck with double pawns right there. That's not a good thing. So that's what white does. White goes, all right, let's get a knight out. I think white's idea is to plant right there. I think that's the idea. And white castles, because black's doing some weird stuff here. I don't know what this move was doing here, because not like this was going to happen anyway because of this. So I don't know. That this does nothing other than further make it more difficult for your knight to get in the game. I mean, there's just that. After that, and you're like, what are you doing? I guess there's that right there, attacking the knight. So I mean the bishop. So I guess that's something. But like, what is this doing? I don't know if this is preparing for. Oops, is this preparing for this? But you don't need that to do that. This is already there, so there's no need for that. You can just go ahead and do that. And yeah, so white castles. In black pushes, further, looking for this. But I think white just has too much control over that square right now. You can't really take because white's going to take back right there. You're not going to take with the queen because you lose queen to your opponent's queen, and you're attacking the bishop. Bishop's forced to move. There you go. So now this is not a good idea for white. This loses a pawn. And it just completely, as you can see here. All right, now white has completely just like pretty much just lost control of the center of the board. I mean, just gave it up. Just like, what? I don't want control. Who needs that anyway? I'm giving black an easy time and showing him how good I am at this game. So there you go. But now we're finally gonna get a knight in the game. But again, you've lost control of the center of the board. So this knight, what's this knight doing after this? I mean, boom, boom. I guess there's that, but then there's just easy attacking of that piece, right? I mean, it's just maybe castle. Yeah, maybe castle, and then looking at to attack, putting pressure right there, things like that. Those options right there. I'm just throwing stuff out. White's gonna go ahead and attack the bishop here. I guess that wouldn't be a bad idea, but the thing is, and that's a pretty sweet move for black, by the way. That's actually regarded in the game review as a brilliant move. It's a forced move, but um, because it does force the queen right here. And now the problem here though is this is not generally a good idea for white. I mean, the queen's not doing a whole lot right here. All these are these are guarded. There's this potentially queen trading right here. So there's that. That's an option right there. Other than that, this is not a terribly active square for the queen. But black goes ahead and retreats his bishop anyway. There you go. The whole idea of this move right here was to say, hey, if you take my bishop, I'm going to take your queen. But like black had really no intention of doing that anyway, I guess, so he just retreats the bishop anyways, which seemed to me to be a bit of a waste of tempo. So okay, not a bad idea. It is one of the top engine moves. It's the least of the top, but it is one of the top to connect the rooks, to increase defense of your back rank. Okay, fine. Okay, this move here, not a great move because this hangs a knight. So this is where we get to the point in the game where both players for like the rest of this game are just like they don't have any game plan whatsoever. There is none. I mean, and you know this because of the way they move their pieces. So right now, if you're black, this is something that why is black in an overwhelmingly winning game? Let me just say that real quickly. Why is black winning overwhelmingly? The reason why black is winning overwhelmingly is because this bishop's guarded, this knight's guarded, this pawn's guarded. That's a weak pawn right there, but nevertheless, this bishop's guarded, this rook is guarded. His pieces are guarded. All of his activated pieces are guarded. And you look at white's, these pieces here, yeah, but you got these ones here. Look at these. There is nothing protecting these pieces. Nothing. I mean, it's just this. This is just a fork. This wins a piece. One of these. Um, there's just this and attacking that. And what are you going to protect that with? You might have to. You can't do that because boom. You can't go here because boom. That there's no way to really protect that other than like maybe this. That's pretty much the only way you can protect that knight. Or you're gonna have to retreat the knight. And there's this which blocks the queen, and it's wastes tempo again because you're forced to put the knight back. So that's not a good move. But there's also this, and that's an attack on this knight as well as the rook. So what white does, it doesn't not a bad idea. It's not a great idea, but it actually is a top. So it is the top engine move. You're like, all right, well, I'm gonna lose the rook, so I'm gonna go ahead and trade off equal material. Okay, yeah, not a bad idea. Now you got to get your knight out of there, and that's what he does. He gets this knight out. All right, so and then, but again, white's still in a huge crap storm right now because you've still got two pieces here that are about to get forked, and you see black does that. Excellent move for black. Awesome move. You're going to win one of these pieces for a pawn. Oops, not a good idea for white. White sees it and goes, fine, whatever. I'm just going to take, and then you go and retreat the knight. I would have saved the bishop. Bishops are slightly better than knights, but it is what it is. And also because, then there's just this, and it's just further attacking, further harassing this. Now, that's not a bad move for white because this pawn is hanging now. And then this also attacks the queen, forces the queen to move. So okay, look at that. White's getting back in the game. Now there's just this, further attacking the queen, and you see that here. Well, actually, he doesn't do that. That's what he should have done. That's what I would have done. I would have gone right. That's the top engine move right there. Just attack the queen. Just keep it. And I know again, neither of these guys. Well, he's guarded now. He's not guarded. But still, it's going to be difficult for that queen to attack that knight. There's just this right here. That's an option to attack the knight. But then you can protect the knight with that. Maybe, excuse me. Uh, but that's the better move. But there's this. I don't know why. By the way, this really puts the queen in a really bad situation because she's under attack right here. This is guarded, guarded, and guarded. that's a difficult situation for that queen. Things getting really tight. There's not a whole lot of ways for her to escape at that point. So that's a better idea. So there's this now. Now this is guarded, 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 guarded. So the queen is still in a tight spot, but not really so much. I mean, it's not really all that bad anymore. Um, but there you go. So black is I don't know exactly what that's doing. There's that, but I'm not sure like why is that an issue? I mean, all these pawns are weak, okay, but again, I don't understand this. Now there's this. There's queen takes right here on a b4. That's just a completely a pawn just left all by himself, and that's what white does. Takes, and now he's looking down at that. Um, Now for this it's not a top engine move, but you can harass that queen if you wanted to. Um, so, but once again, now for black, so black plays this. I guess that's what black was looking at. He's just looking at that pawn. I'm like, why? I have no idea. I do not know what in the world you're doing there. And you see, that's the thing. Once again, it's because there's no game plan. Black doesn't realize the advantage he has here. Black has a great advantage. You got a bishop staring down at this. You got a bishop right here. I would probably think about this to look at that knight and to, but of course the problem is both these are connected. Both knights are connected here, and that's typically a bad thing. That's why this isn't a good idea right now. So maybe before you could do this, and then on your next move attack the knight, force the knight to move. You could do stuff like that. There's an option so that then you can maybe do this, and pawn can't take because he's pinned to the king right here, and you're just pressuring White's king. I mean, you have two bishops, you got a knight, you still got a rook left, and your queen is looking straight down at the king. He's on the same file as the king. So think about how you're going to create a game plan to where you can just absolutely destroy that castle. You just destroy the castle. But the problem for black is just not committing to trading pieces, and that's what it's going to take for you to win this. Black's like, I don't want to trade pieces. I don't want to lose pieces. I got to keep all my pieces. And just this is the thing here, guys. I mean, this is what frustrated me so much about this game. You have to trade pieces. You're gonna lose pieces, and you have to just accept that. Now, once you accept that, now you can just start thinking about, okay, how do I use my pieces and trade my pieces in the best way that's going to win me the game? And if you're not willing to do that, you're never going to win at chess. You're never going to get good at this game. That's what the game's about. And I know I'm getting all animated here, but it's like when I was watching this, I was sitting at lunch in Chick-fil-A, and I'm just like getting so frustrated. I'm like, these guys are, oh my goodness. I mean, just like I want to say, yeah, I shouldn't say it, but in here they were just there's just no thinking whatsoever. So white goes and does a weird thing like that. I mean, like, I don't know what this is doing. I see this is another thing where like, oh, I'll attack this hanging bishop. And you got to think about before you make moves like this, you got to think about what could black do to counter this. What could he do? Is this really hanging? I mean, yes, it's hanging, but then there's just that. Okay, now he's no longer hanging. Now he's looking straight down at this knight. Um, and it's like, okay, well, that didn't go the way I planned it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there is like, let's see here. Yeah, okay, so there's just this. You're looking at both of these, but that's an idea. Um, okay, sorry, got distracted. So, like when you make these kinds of moves where you're just attacking a piece like this and you're going, oh, look at that, it doesn't do anything. You gotta before you make those moves, you gotta ask yourself, what could my opponent do that could just completely destroy that idea I had? And if you can do something like that, well, it's like, okay, that wasn't a good idea. Don't do that move. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of tempo, and you're only putting yourself in a worse situation, bad structure, all that jazz. The only good thing about this queen being here is this adds further protection of this knight. Like that's about it. But then there's just this knight comes in like that, and That's a problem right there. But so okay, so white, black, but one of probably the only thing in black's position right now that is stupid is this knight right here. I mean, this knight is just there was no reason to take that pawn. It was just again, it's a move that black that you do when you don't know what else to do. So you're just attacking pieces. You're just all right. Well, I'm just gonna go after a free pawn. Like I don't know what else to do. I have no idea what I'm doing. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. So, all right. So whites now you don't want to do this as white again because you have two knights that are connected to each other. That's a strong defense. That is very strong defense. That queen is definitely not taking that knight because you just lose it. Uh, um, so when you do this, something like this, well, now they're no longer connected. Not only that, well, once again, hanging. I mean, that knight is as alone as you could possibly be. um, and don't worry, I mean, trust me, this gets even dumber. What White is doing here, I, it just is beyond me what it was supposed to be doing. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. All right, so if I'm black, okay, if I'm black, I'm going knight here, yeah, so that's top engine move. I'm going knight here because I might think about checking right there and force that. Um, and by forcing that, you remove the pawn from this square. And you can then just go ahead and check right there, and then force the king right there, and then there's mate. Oh no, it's not. I'm sorry, there's no mate right there because the queen's right there. But that's a possibility. That's going to put white in a ton of trouble, a lot of trouble. Black can just block the queen right there with a rook like that, and also attacking that knight. Who just said that knight would move anyway after those moves. But see, the point here is I'm trying to show you how to develop plans. Like you got to create plans here. Make plans. So the knight right here, so that then you can check, it forces this, so that then oh yeah, that's right, this knight's still there. But you can still move this pawn right here. That knight's now pinned to the king, and so yeah, I mean those are options right there. And that's why this bishop comes down and takes that knight. Boom. I mean, there's your plan. If you're black, that's your plan. Like that's your game plan. But see, black doesn't see this stuff. Black's not thinking about any of this stuff. Black just goes, I'm just going to attack this knight. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. I'm sure as heck not going to do this. Why am I not going to do that? Because I lose my bishop. And that's the big problem right there. That is black's problem. That's what he's that's the stuff that's just he's just thinking about keeping his pieces alive while trying to attack white's pieces. While not being willing to sacrifice any of his pieces. I'm telling you guys, that will not win you chess games. You're not going to win chess games if you're playing that way. Okay? That's just not how it works. So what black does just goes, all right, I'm just going to attack that. Just going to do it. Just going to attack it. And but don't worry, like I said, white does something incredibly dumb. This knight sitting right here, what in the flying Sam hell is that knight doing there? There is just no reason for that knight there. It is doing literally nothing. It's looking at like it only is like what is it looking at? It's looking at nothing. It's doing nothing. I don't know if is does White think that he's got a cool, clever trick here? Like, oh, I'm gonna just take the knight. He's not that dumb. He sees the queen right there. He's not gonna take that. Because I mean, if you do that, if Black was dumb enough to take that, look at that. Look at how that game just changes. Check, blah blah blah. There's that right there. But once again, uh, that doesn't it still is not going to do a whole lot, right? I mean, it evens out the game, right? Evens out the game. Okay, that's fine. It forces this pinned right there, but White can just go ahead and escape. Get away. There's this adding pressure, putting pressure on this knight. So there's but yeah, so it does literally nothing. It does absolutely nothing. But see, Black gets distracted by this. He thinks this is a problem. That is not a problem at all. I mean, the only problem it is it blocks the rook. The rook's no longer, it's kind of having a hard time looking down the d file right now. You can fix that, by the way, with like that. Just go ahead and take that. Just take it. Doing this, yes, this loses your bishop, but it's a sacrifice so that you are breaking up your opponent's castle structure. You're creating and you're providing a way to get yourself in there. That's what you're doing. And that's going to cost you some pieces at some point. It's going to cost you some pieces. So what black does is does this and thinks it's clever. The game doesn't mind this move. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't mind this move. I don't like it because it blocks the bishop. It blocks. The whole idea is to take with the bishop right there because again, black thinks he's in trouble and he's not not in any trouble at all. White's the one who's in trouble. Black just needs to take advantage of the fact that black is in trouble. I mean, is that black needs to take advantage of the fact that white is in trouble. But he's so just absolutely brain dead when it comes to chess. He doesn't see it. And that's just really all there is to it. So he's like, I gotta attack that knight. I gotta, because something bad's happening. Nothing bad's actually happening because this what does this do? Boop boop. Blip blip. Blip blip. Blip blip. Like it's doing nothing. It's doing absolutely nothing. So this knight has nowhere to go except here, and that's just an incredibly inactive square. So, all right. So fine, whatever. White attacks a bishop that was gonna attack. That was attacking the knight. That was going to take the knight. That's why black did this pawn move. He did the pawn move so he can now attack the knight and take out the knight. And white just has no idea. He doesn't see it at all. He just doesn't see it, just doesn't see it, and just goes, I'm gonna attack this with this bishop. Like, well, I don't care. I was going after that anyway. Now, what has white done? He's weakened his structure. It's only gonna really just be easier for black at this point. What's the best move for white? The best move for white now is to try and force a queen trade like this. So if the queen does not take, so if this, black may have to take that queen and go for the trade like that, and it's forcing because if black goes ahead and does something like this, decides like I don't want to go for that queen trade, well now you lose a knight. So it's again it's still not a winning situation for white, but it does a little bit of something. But white's not going to see that stuff. White doesn't want to give up his queen. White goes, all right, I'm going to try to attack his bishop. Try to force that bishop to move. And what black does is it's not a bad move. It's again for me. I'm just looking at this and I'm just going like, okay, this move is probably necessary because if it attacks it both attacks knight and then it dares white to take because you lose it. Now, it's not a terrible move but the thing is like if I'm black, I'm going to try to keep my queen staring down at this. I want to keep my queen just putting tons of pressure right here. That's what I want to be doing. And then I got these bishops right here. They're just like, I mean, they're just staring down. These are just boogeymen right here, these bishops. And black just does not understand the power and the strength of these bishops. Just doesn't get it. But fortunately, white doesn't either, and doesn't go ahead and just take out one of the bishops. Makes things. It's not going to be easy, but it helps. So, but there you go. So if moves this knight to where it's just totally, completely, 100% inactive, doing nothing, sitting off here in the corner, just saying hi to this knight. They're both just looking at each other, just sitting on the sidelines, going, "Oh, so you're a knight too, huh? Yeah, yeah. You're boss or your boss or whatever. Just treats you like you're just sideline player, huh? Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's just go ahead and you know what? What are we doing here in this war? Let's just make friends. Who cares about all this stuff? Blah blah blah. All right. So again, black. So here goes black. Goes for a check. Fine, whatever. That's cool. That's all fine and dandy. Now at this point, maybe something like this, so that this bishop can now come over here and think about real problems right here. That's not one of the top engine moves. I'm wondering why, by the way. Because there's check right there, and yeah, you lose a bishop. That's why. That is why. So the game wants, uh, and this is top engine move here. Yeah, because this puts pressure on the rook, puts pressure right there. It also guards the square so that the queen cannot come here and do that stuff right there. That weird stuff. So white does this to protect its rook, and it is the top engine move. I don't like it, but I understand it because when you're in a situation like white's in, which is completely losing, um, you kind of end up having to do things you normally wouldn't want to do, like this weird rook move right here. All right, so I'm looking at this situation, and um, the top engine move for black is this. Now, why is it this? I have a feeling, without looking at the rest of the theory, I have a feeling it's because black can do this, white is forced to take. If he doesn't take, there's that. Or, if he doesn't take, then there's that. So he's forced to take, and then there's check, no other move but to go F1, and then there's mate. Once again, game plan. There's a game plan for black. That's a winning proposition right there. Um, and this is where black just quit. This is where black quit. Black goes, I don't know what to do. Um, even though you're not. Look at this. You're winning. You're overwhelmingly winning. I mean, like, what in the world is? um, so like, okay, there's F6 right here. Yeah, it guards the rook. I just don't think you need to. I don't think you need to, because if it takes, let's say we do this. What do we got here? Uh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. Game goes into continuation. Right here, that's where black resigns. Um, so yeah, I guess you would have to at this point. Now you'd have to guard the rook. Um, okay, so guarding the rook, that's actually a good idea. But my point here is white has this. I mean black. I'm sorry, black has this. There's also looking at this. Uh, again, so the idea here is to um, force moves from your opponent. This is forcing because, boom, right there, but then there's that. So let me just go ahead and go through this. Okay, I want to go through this. Let's say, okay, oops, I'm sorry. Boom, boom, and then, no, that's not what we wanted. We do this. We protect the rook. Okay, let's do this. And let's just say white goes, blah, 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 blah. Crap. There's no attack there, and trying to go based off of white's, um, the way white plays, I guess. um, the way I've watched white play, he might try to just go ahead and go, well, let's see if I can do something else. The only safe square for my queen is like this right here. Um, there is. Okay, top engine move right here. But again, so let's just go ahead and say this, and that. That's forced, and there you go. That's game over. That's checkmate right there. So that's an option. That's one option for for black. By the way, this also is a discovered attack on the rook right there. So if white takes, you could. That's that's not a good idea, because then there's that, then this is no longer an option. Uh, but that's probably not a good idea. But oops, I'm sorry, didn't want to do that. Let's say white goes, I don't know, just thinks, oh crud, now I'm under attack right there, and comes back down here, whatever. Well, that's there's that. Okay, black is still winning. Very, very convincingly so, still winning. Again, you just got to get your queen back in the game here. Again, looking down at this, and then you just got to deal with, this problem right here, which can be solved with things like, pushing pawn forward, whatever. You still got two very powerful bishops. The big problem with the two bishops, though, is they're both hanging. So you may have to, defend one of the bishops to protect the other one, because if this moves, then that bishop's gone. That's one of the problems here is these two bishops, even though they're very powerful in the sense of like they're looking down at some serious, um, territory. They're both hanging and they're both pinned to each other. So that's one of the big problems with all that stuff. But these are just potential theories and things that Black could have done to have eventually won this game. But see, that's again, you look at these moves. Let me go back to the just straight up analysis, because I did the continuation thing, and just gonna go back, to the original form. But you just look at all of this stuff. Every single move, you see all these moves here from both players. I mean, Black didn't play very well, but White played worse. But Black didn't understand any of these concepts, didn't understand any of this stuff. He knows basic stuff of chess. He knows how to castle. He knows how to, the pieces move, whatever, but has no idea how to formulate plans, no idea how to create attacks. Um, Again, but neither does White. I mean, look back at this position. Look at all of these pieces. Every single piece that's activated, that's off the back ranks, is hanging. They're all completely hanging. So, I mean, if I'm, you know, I don't know. I mean, you could take that. That is a there's also this right there. Whatever. That's not the best move, but okay. I was just curious. But just looking at these right here, like that was probably the last good move of either player, right there. That was probably the last one. After this, both players are just doing nothing but like just trying to hunt down each other's pieces and not thinking about where they're putting their own pieces as a result and how that will affect their own position. There's none of that going on. I mean, that's the top engine move. I would have gone ahead and taken that. Yeah, you're gonna lose it, sure, but you the reason why, again, the game wants White to do that because both bishops are a big threat right now to White. If White's not careful, he can get checkmated pretty quickly. But after these moves, both sides you can tell so clearly, like especially when you look at this move right here. When you see this knight move, which is threatening nothing, and Black goes just attack knight, even though the knight's just going to move. Probably a bad idea for this is just that, again, connecting these knights. Okay, that's a thing. Okay, that's an idea. Of course, then once again, one of the problems here. Oops, I'm getting mixed up here. One of the problems here is just, there's just that, and that's a problem. You might go ahead and just take out one. You might as well, right? You might as well just go ahead and trade off, blah blah blah. And now you're in a winning situation. Now this is a game in which you're winning as White. So there you go. That's an idea. There are ideas right there. You got to look around. Like I played chess yesterday, which was Sunday from me recording this. I played with a young kid at church, and by the way, he did really really well. In fact, I want to go back here. I didn't plan on doing this. This is the game I played with him. I actually screwed up badly in this game. I messed up badly. I still won, but I messed up really badly. Um, I blundered my queen, and so I almost lost the game. So I was White. I started with a queen's pawn opening. What I'm doing here, okay, you can see here I'm doing the London system. I've come up with a explanation for the London system. The London system is the best opening you can play until you get to around above or around sort of the intermediate level. Like it's a great system that gets you into the intermediate level. After that, I have learned, and I've learned the hard way, it doesn't do too well after that. Because once you get past the intermediate level, These guys know how to deal with the London system. Like they know how to do it, and they just destroy it completely. So I just stopped doing it. All right. So in this situation, though, okay, I got my London system set up. This is the setup of the London system. It's creating this pyramid right here. Powerful bishop right here in the center. I can go knight here, I can go knight there, and then just think about moves like, whatever. It gives me options, and then I can castle if I need to. Whatever, I can do a lot of stuff. I can go here eventually. Oh no, not yet, but but eventually maybe. But so and I can push up, I can put pressure. It gives you a lot of options to do. Now, when I was playing this game, I'm looking at this game, and I'm going, I'm looking at that, potentially that's a possibility. If I take out that bishop, if he doesn't see, if he's not paying attention to me taking out that bishop, he's going to lose the rook right there. All right, so but in this game right here, this move right here was where I thought, the game still has this fairly even. I thought this is where everything came crashing down for him, because that leaves him this bishop undefended. When I saw that move, I immediately went to attack that bishop. I'm going like, oh, sweet, that's a free bishop right there. And then now I'm looking straight at that one, which is also an undefended bishop. So now the problem is he doesn't see that. And you see how the game does that? The game's like, oh, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that because now you're going to lose a bishop and you're going to lose another bishop. And see, like, you're forked. Your queen and your bishop are forked. So he's forced to move his queen. But I wouldn't even, that queen move's not a good move either. Like that's probably better, because it still lets her see some stuff right there. This year she's like totally inactive. Like she's doing nothing over here. Absolutely nothing. So that's where, we got that going on. I decided to go ahead and, I don't mind losing that knight at this point because boom, and then I'm going to check him right there. And I pre-moved this, by the way. I knew that was going to happen. I knew he was going to take the knight because I was going to check him, force him away. And now I missed a move right here. I completely missed mate right there. Beginning of mate, which is boom. That's a right here, and oh yeah, and then there's right there. I mean, there's that, but then there's just So I messed up right there. I missed it, and there you go. There's mate. That would have been mate right there. So I completely missed it. And that was my bad. And I screwed up even more. I did that. So and now I'm kind of in a survival mode. I'm like, oh man, okay, well let's just see if we can survive. I thought about taking that, but I just didn't think it was a good idea because when you blunder your queen this early in the game, you don't want to be trading off more pieces, especially if they're bishops. I think, even if it's for a rook, rooks are worth more than bishops, but I don't want to be trading off more pieces, so I just decided not to go for it. Now he's attacking my pieces, so I'm kind of in a tactical retreat at this point. So he sees that he doesn't want to take, that's probably a good idea. So I'm going to chase out that rook, and now I'm going to go for the trade here because I want to get that. Boom, 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 and this is where I saw, okay, right here, like I'm like, oh, I might have an opportunity to win his queen. So boom, boom, whatever. I move my knight in front of this knight so that the queen cannot guard the knight anymore. I'm cutting off that knight. Attacks the rook, that's fine, don't care, because I'm going to move the rook right here and get ready to go for a check on the king right now, and that was going to allow me to take his queen. So that was the plan at this point. So if you're black and you see a move like this, you got to be careful. I've done this to my buddy Bruce. I have a video where I showed a trap that I set on Bruce, and it was pretty crazy. It was a combination between the rook and the rook and the bishop. One of the things with chess that you have to understand when it comes to chess, getting good at chess is about seeing patterns. You got to look at patterns. You got to see the patterns. And right now, my young friend, he doesn't see what I'm doing right now. He doesn't see the plan I have. So he's like, all right, well, I'm just, free pawn, whatever. He feels comfortable right now because I don't have a queen. But you got to be careful. You can never, like my buddy Bruce did. I didn't have a queen when I set that trap on him. You have to always be careful. You never know when someone's up to no good. This is not a good move, this block right here, because, I'm going to go for check right there eventually. First, I got to move the knight. So I move the knight. And now, game doesn't like this, by the way, but I had a feeling. I had a feeling that He wasn't going to see what I was doing. Second top engine move is to move the queen out of the way. I think that should be the top engine move because you're gonna want to because of what's coming next. Again, so in chess you got to look for patterns. You see this looking straight up at a queen. Oh, sorry. When you see this, the rook and the bishop looking at each other, um, uh, and staring straight up at the queen, that's trouble. That's a big problem, and you got to be ready for that, especially when that bishop can go for a check, and you lose a queen. See how the game just equalized? Not only equalized, but it gave me a little bit of favor. That's because of that. Now it's fascinating here because the game actually has. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize this. He could have just gone ahead and taken my bishop, but he didn't. He took with the king, and he loses his queen. But then he makes an even bigger mistake, which is not to take my rook. My rook was hanging. I was planning on him taking that. However, yeah, I was planning on him taking that rook. I thought he was going to do that. That would also check me and put me in a bad situation. He doesn't, and that costs him the game because now he's got no rooks left. He's only got two knights. I got two rooks in an end game, and ultimately it's just game over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and check him, force him into the corner, and there's a check right there, but that hangs the knight. That's only going to work to my advantage. So I'm going to go for check right here. And that's not a good idea right there. If you're going to go, if you got to be paying attention to a double rook checkmate. So if you're going to see this, I'd go right here because now it's going to make it harder for me to checkmate you. But of course, I'm just going to come down here and just boom. But he does that, boom, and there's mate. So, going all the way back here, and I told him this. I told him this when after the game was over. I told him probably where everything kind of fell apart for you was when you left that bishop hanging right there. And I saw that bishop. I was like, I'm going after that bishop. And not only that, but I'm getting the other bishop. And boom, you've just lost both bishops early in the game. And my big issue was I completely missed that. I can't believe I did. And I'm looking back right now at the game. And I was like, I can't believe I missed that. But it is what it is. Sometimes it's different when you're playing on time limits. But no, there you go. So. Just a couple lessons in chess, and then of course right here what we learned from this game. Oh, not this one. From that other game I showed you. You have to have a plan. You have to be thinking about your plan. Like what do I want? What's the way to win this game? Where's my advantage, and how do I exploit the weaknesses of my opponent? Yes, your opponent's gonna have weak pieces, and sometimes there comes a point where you're like, I don't really know what to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and attack a weak piece. Those are always options, but you gotta again, chess is nuanced. It's not always the case that you just go after those easy pieces. If you got a better idea, if you got a game plan worked out, screw those easy pieces. Like those easy pieces are only things you grab when you really don't have a lot going on or like a big old plan right at the moment, and you're just at a situation where you're situationally better and you can just attack your opponent's pieces like that. Those might be examples of when you can attack weak pieces and whatever. But ultimately, especially as black, you saw in that game, it's when you're in this situation right now, you are positionally way better. You are just absolutely dominating this game. So, just think about this. The whole time I was watching this, I was thinking about this. Like, there's this is a possibility right here. Then you can come down right here, and that spells trouble for white. That's like, because if he goes up right here, you can just give the bishop and take the rook. Yeah, you're just causing all kinds of problems. And see, like that's the second top engine move right there. So that if white continues to do weird stuff, like I don't know that, you can just come down right there, and that's a big problem. I mean, the game says that's. Oh, yes, because of the knight right there. So, there's, you could take whatever, get rid of that. You could maybe do that, but, I mean, there's that. And then eventually, boom. Oh, no, you don't want to do that because you're going to block the bishop. Boom, boom. And then if he moves the pawn up so that you can't do a checkmate, you just take the rook. It's forcing your opponent to make moves. It's forcing him to make mistakes. That's what you're doing. So, anyways, but I gotta go. Been doing this way too long. So, Lessons learned.